Hey y'all, it's your girl KB, and the B is for Bobby Butte, not beauty, just Butte. If you are watching this, I have officially closed on my first rental property. Yay! Go me, go me. We getting money. It's giving rich. Go me, go me. Y'all, this has been such a long time coming. Like, I always wanted to be a homeowner. I always saw the value of home ownership. Homeownership runs in my family from my great grandparents on down. One thing that I'm always super proud of is the fact that all of my grandmothers, so my grandmother has 8 grandchildren, and one of them just turned 18, but everybody else is a homeowner. Period. Clock it. I just really value, again, like home ownership. Um, I bought my first home, which is the one that I sold at 25. So I really saw that as a huge accomplishment. And I know, don't come for me, because I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people never want to buy homes. A lot of people don't see the value in it, think it's a scam, think it's too much work, and it is. And we'll talk about that. But for me, this is something that I'm really proud of. I want to be a real estate investor. I learned a lot. Right now, if you hear noise in the background, it's because I'm in my primary home and I have a contractor here working on my first big project in his house. So that's exciting. But yeah, let's get into the plus. I used to always watch Dave Ramsey's podcast when I was first getting into personal finance, and he would always say that just about every single millionaire owns or has invested in real estate in some kind of way, whether it's REITs or owning a home, their primary home, or investment properties, something of that nature. So yeah, let's get into it. When I was 25, I bought my first home, and I was living in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the time. People always ask me, what were you doing in Minnesota? It was because I worked there. So I was working at Target's corporate office, and I saw myself being there for a really long time, or else I probably wouldn't have bought the house, but thank God I did. So I saw myself being there for a really long time. I was like, why not just buy a house here? Because I live here. I'm probably going to live here for the next, 5 to 10 years, because I really wanted to grow in my career. So I bought the house, and it wasn't just that simple. I had to save, and to save, I had to sacrifice, because at the time I was a single mom. My son Miles was like six years old. So I had to sacrifice. I lived in a 1 bedroom apartment, and his I made the bedroom his room, and I made the living room like a studio apartment kind of thing. So I would have lived in a studio apartment if I could have, like if it was available, but they didn't have any available. So I saved my money, which it was less than $10,000 to buy this home, because I did get a down payment assistance, which I'm super grateful for, and I didn't have to pay back. I think I put down $8,000 in the down payment assistance. For the closing cost was $6,000, or yeah, that's right. I put down $8,000, which I had saved over the course of a year, which was difficult for me because at the time I was only making, not only, but I was making $60,000. So I really, what is like $45,000 at the taxes. So I really had to, like sacrifice, crunch down. I wasn't really going out because I didn't really have that many friends like that anyway. But yeah, I saved that $8,000, and then they brought $6,000 to the table for my closing costs. So I was able to purchase the home. It was it is a 4 bedroom, 2 bedroom home with an unfinished basement. And I don't know why I bought that big house. It was really a lot of house for just me and my son. But again, I'm just thinking about growing a family, like living there for a long time. And it worked out because I had a home office, I had my bedroom, I had a guest room, and my son had a room. So those are the 4 bedrooms. In the basement, we didn't really make much of it, but beautiful gowns, like really nice house. I bought the house in 2019. So yeah, 6 months after I bought the house, or closed on the house, I should say, the pandemic hit. It was no point of me being in Minnesota by myself. I felt like since I didn't have to work there anymore, I could work remotely. So that's why I left the house. And it was tough trying to find tenants long term. I like to be a little bit more hands on. I told a horror story before about me trying to get a Section 8 tenant, and this is no shade, but it was a young lady. And you can't really not really, you can't discriminate against people based on their race, based on if they have Section 8, based on their income, based on if they have children, anything. But she had like 3 or 4 kids. One of them was disabled, I believe, and come to find out, they had burned their last house down. Now, don't get me wrong, girl, everybody deserves housing, everybody deserves somewhere safe to lay their head at night, especially if they have children. But if you going around burning down houses, you can't, I'm sorry. Mm-mm. So I had to essentially ask her to leave. And then I got a man, and he was just really difficult. Like, for some reason, he didn't want to communicate with me. He felt like it was his house. Like, if I would ask him a question, he would basically be like, don't, like, don't worry about it. Basically, like, mind your business kind of. And I can't me, I like to be in control. It's my house. Like, I don't want nobody. So he had to go too. I put the house on the market in 2021 and it didn't sell. So it came time in 2025, the year we're currently in, for me to basically, I was feeling like I don't want to own this house anymore. I had hired a property management company, which I also started to have problems with, just because I always feel like it's difficult to know. You got to really trust somebody when money is involved and real estate is involved, because people are sketchy, people are greedy. So I had an issue with the house where they told me that some things needed to be fixed, and the price seemed sky high. So I'm like, let me get somebody else out there to give me a quote. This is last year in 2024, to give me a quote for these things. And then I'm asking people, asking around, asking people, and they're like, there's no way that it was like a gasket or something. There's no way that that should cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I'm like, are y'all working with these contractors and like skimming money off the top, like working with each other? Like, oh yeah, if you give me the business, then I'll give you an extra $50 for every customer you bring me, and I'll upcharge. And it's like, no. Absolutely not. So I ended up firing the property management company, but then I'm in the same situation where I got to manage these tenants long distance, and I just don't want to do that. I don't feel like constantly flying out to Minnesota. I don't want to be in Minneapolis. I don't want to be hounding people down to fix stuff. I just don't. And if I do, or when I do again, I want it to be up close and personal. I want it to be in my city or surrounding city that I can drive to, that I can have easier access to. So that was the thing that made me pull the trigger and say, okay, let me get this on the market. I don't want to own it anymore. Let me sell it. So I hit up the same realtor that I used to buy the house. Her name is Lasha Raditz. She works with the Signature Realty Group of Keller Williams, and they're in Minneapolis. And she, as always, like, she is gonna go hard for you whether you're buying or selling. I don't think she does renting, but it was just like a seamless process for me. Y'all know I recently talked about not having a prenup and going through a divorce and having to essentially like try to, I didn't have to bribe my husband to sign the paperwork, but it was just, like, every step of the way she was super helpful. She had some ideas about like offering a warranty. She did some super, like, just awesome negotiating for me when it came to the other party, because something happened with their inspection, and they had a sewer, it was a sewer hole or something. Girl, I don't know. Something with the sewer line in the house, it was leaking on my side, and it was supposed to be it was thousands of dollars. So we negotiated the price to get me the best price. It was just, it was her. Listen, it went really well, and I appreciate having someone on my team that is super, just like, knowledgeable and professional to be able to get, because when you're working, of course, each party is trying to get the best bang for their buck. They're trying to get, something that's fair for them. In selling my house, I wanted to make a profit. It wasn't a situation where it's like, oh, I just want to break even to get rid of it, because I did feel like if I need to put this back on the market to get a tenant, I will. But thankfully, luckily, I did not have to do that. Now, originally we had the house on the market for 269, but then it didn't sell. So I think we took it down to 260, 264, or maybe we took it down $10,000 or something, between $5,000 and $10,000, and then we got an offer. And it's crazy because we didn't get any offers at 269, but everybody said that the price was just right. But I guess it wasn't that right if they didn't put an offer on it. So we put it out on the market at 259, and then we got an offer. And I had actually gotten, which I talked about in my first video, I had actually gotten an offer for, it was like a low ball offer. Maybe it was like 239 or something like that too. And I'm like, if you don't get the hell out of my face, I'm not desperate. I don't need to sell this house that much for you to ask me to go $30,000 below asking and pay closing costs. No, 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 absolutely not. This is not 2019 COVID year. You are not gonna. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. So of course I declined that offer. But the offer that I got, it was a really good offer to where I was willing to accept it. The lady that bought the house, she was super excited about the house, even with the inspection coming back with something wrong with it. She was like, okay, we could just get it fixed. So we worked in all those the contract and signing it, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So the original closing date was not until September 5th, but then they moved it up to sometime last week. So I've been closed on it for just a few days now. But I will say, because I did talk about numbers before, it wasn't as much as it was. I thought I was thinking it was going to be. I thought I was going to be like rolling in dough and make $50,000 because the house was on the market for 269. We sold it for 266, and the mortgage that I had on it was at like 196. So 266 minus 196, that's $70,000. I'm thinking once I pay the realtors, once I pay the closing costs, it was like 2% of the closing costs, which ended up being like 5,000 something dollars that I said that I would give them. And I had a deferred balance on my account from when I bought this house. I stopped paying the mortgage for that house while I was trying to rent it. So they put three mortgage payments on the back. Well, it was actually during COVID. They put, because you could take advantage of, like the banks were having the programs to where they allowed you to pause your mortgage. So I put three mortgage payments on the back end that I had to pay back. And that was, I have my numbers here. It was like $6,026, I believe. So I had to pay all of that back. And I'm thinking, okay, once I pay all of this stuff back, I still have about $50,000. No, absolutely not. I had to pay for the sewer line. I also didn't realize I realized that I had to pay for, like taxes, but I did not realize that the freaking bank charges you to sell the house. It was like something like yeah, my deferred balance was $6,026.40. My loan balance at the time that I took this screenshot was $197,391.87. My interest rate was a 4.25 conventional loan at 30 years, and then at the time I had 292 payments remaining, which is crazy. My mortgage that I had been paying for a super, super long time was $1,831.21, but it had recently gone up. So the next payment would have been, well, actually, I do think I made one payment of $2,047.80. And I think that was because of taxes. The taxes went up. So yeah, the bank, I did not realize that the bank charges you to pay off the loan. It says something about, and at this point, I was over it, man. I just was like, take y'all little money and get out of my face, please. They sent me something that basically said, like they have to do their paperwork. They gotta, I guess, pay the people to do the processing. It said processing fee. So I was like, that's some nasty American capitalist work, bro. I was so excited about the number that I'd seen before, of just thinking of everything that I was gonna do, all the things that I was planning to do the money with, like, oh, I'm gonna take a trip, I'm gonna invest this much, I'm gonna save this much, I'm gonna pay. No. Mm-mm. And don't get me wrong, it's a good number. It's a nice number. It's more than I've ever had in my account ever. And that's another reason why I'm such a huge advocate for home ownership, because had I just been a moving, from apartment to apartment to apartment and had never owned a home, I wouldn't get anything back. Now, don't get me wrong, over the years, I did invest, which I know is the counter argument to these things. I did invest into the home, but it wasn't nearly as much as I received on the back end. So I did put a $4,000 furnace in, which was the highest thing that I paid for. And then while the house was on the market, I got the grass cut a couple times. So say $200. I did some painting. I think I maybe put like $3,000 into it to sell it. So $7,000, of course, over the course of the years, like furnace filters, all of that stuff. I'm not really counting that type of stuff. It is what it is. Little $20 here, even though this stuff adds up. These are things that also I just feel like it doesn't bother me that much having to change a furnace filter. We just changed it today. And it was like $6, from Home Depot. It's not that big of a deal to me personally. So I am, a few $1,000s richer. And in another video, I will talk about my debt payoff strategy from here going forward, because I do feel like a lot of people in the videos where I did share what I thought the numbers would be, they were telling me, oh yeah, you should just pay off all your debt. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna let you know right now, that money is in a high yield savings account. Just because I want it to be, honestly. Like I said, I'm investing in the house that I'm currently in. I probably will take a nice little vacation, but nothing more than a couple $1,000s, maybe a quick trip to Jamaica, which, I'm grateful for. Maybe somewhere I've never been, but I know I really like, Jamaica. And then I do plan to invest some, but yeah, all in all, I'm excited for what's next. I'm really looking forward to buying another home, like strictly an investment property, not a property that I will ever live in, just something to get a tenant and then also a flip. So I've been kind of trying to network and figure out who I can talk to, because 2026, I want that to be something that I like hit the ground running doing, like investing in real estate. I'm going to take you along with me on the journey of like my first flip, my first, investment property, all the things. So I'm excited about that. I've definitely learned a lot. I definitely feel excited and motivated, because it's like I remember making like or saving my first $1,000, and then I remember just the first year I made $100,000, and I think there's something about achieving your goal to where it's like, okay, if I can do that, what can I do next? If I can buy one home, I know I can buy 10 more, or even just one more. Let's just put one foot in front of the other. Because for me, it's all about building, like generational wealth, being able to pass homes down to my child or my children, being able to take a trip to Jamaica, or being able to pay off a credit card. These are not things that I would say the average person is really able to do. They say the average American, more than 60% of Americans, can't even handle an $1,000 emergency. So I am trying to sit in gratitude right now, and just, again, I'm super grateful for the experience, or I don't know, something, very much something. But hopefully you guys choose to follow me along on this journey. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on TikTok and Instagram, keep up with me on YouTube Shorts, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.